Hello everyone, it's Shane Kanto, your Wasteland reviewer, and I'm here to review Animosity. And this is a horror thriller from writer-director Brendan Steere, who this film came out apparently in 2013. It's being re-released on VOD, so is it a 2021 film? I don't know. I'm gonna review it. I got a screener for this, so there you go. We're going with it. And this is the director of The Velocipaster, which I haven't gotten a chance to see, but just looking at it, it's something I want to at least experience once in my life. So, Kung Fury, Velocipaster, all of those kinds of things that are just too absurd to let go. And this film focuses on a newlywed couple moving into a cabin in the woods. Weird things start happening. Like the guy next door seems pretty murderous. Some kid breaks into their home and is freaked out at the sight of Mrs. Bonner, played by Tracy Willett. And you start to wonder what the hell's going on here. And of course this is a very low budget, small film. You could feel the low budgetness about it. There's some issues with the sound mixing. Sometimes they're yelling. And sometimes I'm just like up and down on my volume trying to watch this movie. Some of the acting isn't the greatest, particularly Marcin Pelluck, who plays Mr. Bonner. He's pretty stiff and wooden quite a bit of the time. But in general, like there's some moments where there's some solid acting, solid emoting going on in this film, but in general, it's kind of just like, you can tell this was a bunch of low experienced people with a very low budget from a director just doing this new, and you can feel it watching this film. But there's definitely some like old school gaslighting going on. The husband, who's horrible husband, who's just like, guy invades their home. Wife chases him out of the home. Guy runs away when the husband gets close. Wife's like, blah, yada, this guy. And he's like, honey, you're just imagining things. And just like every time this woman, like this dude next door threatens her, like has a loaded shotgun shooting right next to her, unwelcomed, and he's just like, honey, and just like, who is this guy? And as things go on, you start to settle into what this movie's actually about, and I guess it makes a little bit more sense, but still, he's unbearable to get through in the first half hour or so of this movie. And then there starts to be some mystery around this main character, and there's some intrigue here. What's going on here? Something bad happens to her. She wakes up in the middle of the woods, very Evil Dead woods vibe, with like really dark shadows, all the fog, all of it. I'm like looking at Evil Dead right now. And there's actually a really great sequence where she sneaks back into the house at night with great work of shadows and the darkness. It builds some solid tension. There's actually a few scenes in this film that build some solid tension. And I'm like, okay, there's something here. It's just not clicking and firing on all cylinders. But of course, how can we possibly find out about what's really going on here? To the computer, to the secret files on the computer to find a secret file that's going to explain a whole bunch of stuff to us. And not quite all of it. Still pretty confusing, but I hate that cliche. But you know what? It starts rolling things out. It's building some intrigue. I was legitimately interested. And then they blow that reveal way too early on in the film to the point where it's like, okay, there's all the tension. So I guess like what we're going to have here is she's going to slowly take out everybody. And I mean slowly. Slowly. There's a distinct lack of urgency about this film, especially in the second half, which made it really hard for me to keep my attention and really feel engaged with the film because it didn't feel like it thought it needed to be engaged with the film. And that's a problem. And as the film goes on, you're just like, when's it going to get on with it? I felt like all those characters from Monty Python and the Holy Grail that are just like, get on with it! And nope, just keeps at a glacial pace trying to get to the point where it's just like, come on, just do it already. And you know exactly where the film's going at a certain point, and it goes exactly where you expect it to go. It just takes forever. And this film didn't need to be like an hour and 50 minutes. It just felt like it took way too long without any urgency to get to the finale that we all knew was coming once we got to a certain point. So, in general, this film has potential, has some sequences that really work, but in between, it takes itself way too long to get anywhere. It rushes its mystery, so it completely flushes its intrigue down the toilet like a halfway through the film, and then you're just left with, okay, come on, and you're waiting for it. And it didn't really feel impactful enough to be worth that amount of time waiting for it. So in the end, this film has some potential, but isn't exactly the most engaging or interesting of film. But I'm still probably going to check out the Velocipaster at some point, because come on, how couldn't you? Just look at the poster and tell me that doesn't at least pique your intrigue and be like, what the hell is this movie? But for Animosity, if you're a horror fan, you dig some creepy, eerie, just vibes going on, you might enjoy this for what it does provide. But if you're not really into horror movies, I don't think this one's going to really convert you. But those are my thoughts on Animosity. Let me know what you think, and let's talk some movies. But thank you as always for tuning in and supporting your Wasteland reviewer.